Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to Bring Your Bike to College. And for anyone who's listening to the recording, today is January 15th, 2026. And we are having a presentation with Clay with the SECCC, Sam Morrison and Kaitlyn Barnet. And we Sorry, I was admitting people at the same time. So welcome tonight to our Bring Your Bike to College, bridging that gap from NICA to collegiate cycling. So we know, as all of you in our community, we do these surveys that show where we always ask our graduating seniors, like, do they want to, will they want to ride bikes next? Will they want to continue staying on the bike? And we have like 99% of them that say, yes, they want to continue riding bikes. And I'm sure I see a ton of student athletes on here. I'm sure most of you will agree. And that's why you're here. You're like, what's next? What could I do next? What happens? How can I continue all this rad stuff that we do here at Florida NICA or anywhere in NICA? And how do we get to that next step? So I am going to be quiet for a bit, and I'm going to let the experts take over on this. And I'm going to monitor our chat and admit people. If you have any questions or anything, throw them in the chat, and we'll get this thing going.
Sure thing. Thanks, Jackie. This is going to be excellent. I have the introduction slide up here first. Jackie, we just heard from you. Again, thank you again so much for putting this together. This is a really cool team effort, and that sounds redundant because we're all in teams, of course, but the rest of the group in this chat here on the screen, both Jackie, Kaitlyn, myself, and Sam really worked hard to put together a pretty thoughtful presentation for you all together. It's going to go over what does collegiate cycling kind of look like and really get into some of the nitty-gritty fun stuff that we can do with bikes once we graduate high school. We are going to talk about a couple cool things, but first I'll let Sam introduce herself first. Sam, if you'd like to go ahead and give a little brief introduction, that'd be excellent for the group.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sam. I am a graduate from Lees McRae, and then I'm currently working as the assistant cycling coach at King University. So yeah.
And Kaitlyn, go for it.
Hey guys, I'm Kaitlyn. I'm currently a second year biology major at the University of Florida. And I race with and am the secretary of UF cycling team.
Doing an excellent job, both of each of them in their respective positions. And again, my name is Clay Wilderman. I live over here in Atlanta. I'm calling in from Kennesaw, about 15 miles north or so. Got some good mountain biking around, and I am an alumni of Kennesaw State University. And after graduating in 2018 with a marketing degree, I stayed around and had some fun with the collegiate cycling realm and kept the sport going right after everyone gets out of high school. So my role in here is as director of youth outreach and sustainability. The main goal for what I have is simply encouraging and introducing and educating those that are graduating from NICA. You can bring your bike to college, any college of your choice. The infrastructure is there to support your journey on two wheels, and we're here to help facilitate that. Without further ado, we can jump right into it. We'll go into what we are going to talk about today. So really, what is the SEC? So I represent, along with Mike Sowers, our conference director, the Southeastern Collegiate Cycling Conference. We'll go into what does collegiate cycling really look like. It's pretty different from NICA in terms of our disciplines, and we expand on what we've learned and been a foundation in NICA and really delve deep into what we want to do with bikes in college, in addition to what we're learning. So 3 is really specific to mountain bike season. We have 5 or 6 disciplines within collegiate cycling, but we'll spend some time talking about probably the coolest thing for this group is mountain bikes. Number 4, talk about the difference between club and varsity cycling. And we'll tee up Sam and Kaitlyn to talk about their collegiate journeys after that. They're going to do a fantastic job. Finally, I have some helpful resources as we start to begin thinking about maybe this college is right for me and making sure we always pack 2 wheels in our backpack. And then finally, a Q&A session. One note before we kind of start along with that, I have the chat open on another screen you can't see. If you have any questions throughout this presentation, which there are really only 5 or 6 slides or so, feel free to pop them in the chat. And because we have kind of a small group right now, we may be able to have some good interaction and conversation to field those questions as they come in. And also, if I have any internet issues, which I hope I don't, please feel free to send me a note or take over the presentation and have some fun until I come back on. Just making sure there's no technological blips. All right. What is the SECCC. So the map on the left are all the current colleges we have active clubs for. It's kind of hard to actually stuff all of them in there without making the entire thing just look red. Sam and Kaitlyn are both excellent representatives about how they have gone from Florida NICA on to different states and different colleges. Sometimes we have students go from, one NICA league all the way across the country. They might go Ivy League, something very cool, or stay within Florida as well. And that's excellent too. Really, Collegiate is a extension and a graduation from what you've learned in NICA and applying that to all parts of your life. We want to take the same pillars that we learned in NICA, inclusivity, equality, strong body and mind, and finally a strong character, and bring what you've learned and really attribute this to collegiate cycling. That is our main goal. It's not really aging out of NICA and you kind of drop your bike after that, but you're really leveling up. So from the inclusivity standpoint, we don't turn anyone away. We want everyone to feel involved at any level, no matter what the ability is, or if they've never even ridden in the sport before. We have a lot of call it athletes that come from other sports too that happen to find a bike, or maybe their mom and dad had a cool hand-me-down, or they found one on Facebook Marketplace. It might be a blown out fork and half a drivetrain, but doesn't matter. We want you to come and enjoy your bikes and have fun at the races we put on. So each event has the opportunity to grow, really showcase some skills you learn. And just like we have the growth from when you start in sixth grade, or maybe now even earlier, we start to learn how to go over roots and rocks, our level 1 body bike separation. We really start to get into the fun difficulty levels within collegiate cycling. So equality. Effectively, this entire basis and what I try to pitch is bring your own bike. It's really all you need. Everyone rides and races at their own comfort level, and it's up to you to discern which events you'd like to do. Now, the differences kind of come between which route you'd like to go. We'll talk about that later, but the overall point I want you guys to come away with, if it's anything from this presentation, it's bring your bike with you. You never have to hang it up. Or in my case, you hang it up above your bed in the dorm and then it might or might not fall on you. We hope that doesn't happen. So another big thing we have is like strong body. Well, becoming a lifelong cyclist, right? If cycling is not just for fitness. A lot of the students around where I went to school use it for as much as they do fitness as they do transit. Putting a pannier bag or maybe getting their groceries when they go off to college. They may not have a car, but they have a bike, and all of a sudden you're carrying your bread, milk, and eggs in a backpack and hoping they don't crack on the way back. But at the same point, though, strong body is how we keep ourselves mentally engaged. Strong body, strong mind kind of go hand in hand. So speaking about your strong mind, though, education first. Call it collegiate cyclists are here and our students first. And that's what we really want to do. Just like NICA is a complementary and extracurricular to what you're learning in school, we're building strong body and mind off the bike too. That complements what we're actually doing in the classroom, right? So some of our schools are set up with some scholarship programs. That's super awesome. And our other schools and teams that we have, a lot of which are on that map, are also tuition based, right? You're going to school for a marketing degree, or maybe you're starting your career and learning about nursing. We want to educate just as much as we are, exercising our mind as we are our bodies too. And staying fit, trying to keep off the freshman 15, if anyone knows about that. Those food halls will get you, especially with the unlimited ice cream. I am definitely guilty. Fun fact, if you go to the breakfast bar where I went, you could take a Belgian waffle and chocolate chips and then go to the dessert bar and really have some fun. So there's no limit, apparently. Anyways, we got to keep a strong body and strong mind. Finally, character. This is a huge pillar. And if respect was our number one goal here, that's what we're doing too, aside from fun. So fair, fun, respect in our community. If I could have an extra fourth C in the SECCC, it would be community. We have such a strong group, just like we do in NICA. I think that transition makes going to college seemingly a scary thing a lot easier to do. You're pretty much starting your first college experience with 15 of your best friends or 30 or 50 of your best friends on two wheels, and that's really awesome. I'm looking in the chat. So we talked about what the SEC is as an extension of NICA into college and how we kind of take those inclusivity, strong mind, body, character, and equality into collegiate. Any questions in the chat so far? Either that'll give a second to type some in, or you can come off mute and ask a question in the group. Let's give it a few seconds. All righty. Yep. Inclusivity, equality, strong mind, body, and strong character. We want to keep those things going. Ooh, here's the fun one. Okay. So collegiate cycling. There's a lot going on. In fact, you might actually see some of our presenters in the background of some of these photos. So what does it really look like in the SECCC? Each conference, so we're Southeast, looks a little bit different, but I'll talk specifically to here because we're regionally related, right? Florida is a part of the SEC, if you remember from our map beforehand. In our seasons, which happen multiple times a semester or have some overlap, we have mountain, cyclocross, road, gravel, track, and BMX. Stinking awesome that we have that much opportunity to race. And because we're close to velodromes, other BMX tracks, we have all the support. We can effectively have six full seasons. There are opportunities to race and ride year round. If you choose that route, you kind of need a different bike for a couple of them, like track specifically. We have multi-event race weekends. So a little dissimilar to NICA, where there's one big cross-country race, you have a mass start event. We actually have 3 or 4 races or heats or events per weekend, depending on the season. And we're going to talk about mountain bikes pretty in depth coming up. So multiple events per race weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So it's a little bit different of a setup, but nothing I don't think you guys can handle. And of course, again, community, really driving that home, support at every traveling race. If you saw from the map beforehand, we had little pins on all throughout each different state. The way we organize our season is not just racing in Georgia, where I live, or Florida, where most of you all reside. We have a couple from, I just saw Midwestern State University, so excellent, so up north, at least north from me. We have interstate races and intrastate races. We may have a full calendar that goes all the way from North Carolina to Gainesville. That's basically what our mountain and road season do. So we try to encompass and have 4 to 5 events per race weekend, all with multiple heats, all with some travel involved, and everybody tries to do as many races as possible because of how much fun it is. So to kind of wrap this up, making sure you bring your bike, any type of bike, right? Because we have such a breadth of seasons. Mountain with our cross country, short track, dual slalom, and downhill. We'll go into that later. Cyclocross is like when you can run over barriers. It's kind of like a mix of on-road and off-road cyclocross racing. There's a lot in Florida that go on outside of NICA, and we do have a collegiate specific season for that. Our road season's really awesome. We have 4 events that typically happen on a road weekend, and road cycling's, of course, with our skinny tires and drop bar bikes. We actually partner with a couple other promoters to help support our events, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we have road racing, criterium racing, time trials, which are individual or team, and of course, a team time trial. The newest thing is gravel riding. So a similar bike to cross season. You can kind of use both for those as well, or even a cross-country mountain bike to get more experience. Just think about your XC, but on gravel roads. Ton of fun, very remote, different format of racing, all still strategic and very cool. The one that's probably the most different from NICA is our track racing. That's when you race on a track like in the Olympics with a velodrome. In fact, the person that's actually in that picture is on the team with one of our Olympians that graduated from collegiate cycling. What they do in their events around the velodrome, there are different types of racing. They have a points race, a sprint race, a team pursuit, and then a scratch race, which is a lot of fun to watch. And then finally, BMX. They even have their own organization that helps monitor those events because you have to be kind of close to a BMX track. In other words, all of our conferences, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, have their own distinct seasons, all with unique support for each of these disciplines. So no matter what bike you have, there's a season for you and a team for you. It's pretty awesome stuff. All right. I'm checking the chat as I've kind of talked a lot through here. If there's any other questions, totally feel free to pop them in or come off mute. I think the coolest thing, and interrupt me if you'd like, the coolest thing for all of our seasons is how integrated each of our team members are in all of them. I'm what you would say was like a multi-discipline racer. I did mountain and road bikes, more or less. When I was going through school, we didn't necessarily have a gravel or me for track access or BMX. Some schools have a team that incorporates all 6 disciplines, and it's super awesome. So you have riders that are training on a road season and other riders that are, hitting the jumps and enjoying mountain bikes. To kind of wrap up what this is, collegiate cycling in the Southeast encompasses 6 main disciplines, multiple events per weekend. We have around 4 to 5 races per semester per discipline. So there's some overlap. And then we have a community of support at every single race. All right. Any questions in the chat? I'm seeing we have some representation from Midwestern State. That's excellent. Happy to jump in whenever you'd like.
Yeah, just something to add on to that. I don't know if Southeast does this, but all of our races are open. So our community gets involved and
Mhm.
races locally, as well as we invite NICA members to come race as well.
No, that's spot on. And that was something that for this audience is a really good key point. So in all of our collegiate seasons, we do have a governing body, USA Cycling, that has our rules. We have a policy that allows high school racers to race alongside collegiate athletes. What we don't want to do, though, is take away from the value that NICA has, right? And start to try and pull racers so they are pitted against choosing a NICA race or a collegiate race. However, if the opportunity is there, which there is, on an off weekend or maybe a season when NICA is not on the calendar, right? That would be during our cyclocross or road season, state depending. High school racers have the ability to join any USA Cycling collegiate race, or in this case, the SECCC. I saw SCCC and our ECCC directors here too. The availability for a high school athlete to race alongside collegiate athletes is already there in place. So the transition can even be easier when you already know some of the athletes you'll be competing against at a school that you'll be joining or maybe have already gotten accepted to on early admission. Any more points to add on that right there before we kind of continue? I think that was a great point to bring up. All right,
Hey,
yeah.
Clay, quick question, and you might cover this later, I'm sorry, but with all these different disciplines,
Mhm.
do many teams have bikes to provide to athletes? If, like my son has a mountain bike and a gravel bike.
Mhm.
Do many teams have other bikes to provide if you would want to ride other disciplines?
Very good question. Some teams are very well supported, even with their local bike shops that they've partnered with. Some teams have different forms of funding. And by teams, I really mean colleges that have different levels of help, either with equipment or local programs that also provide that opportunity. I know that our local Dick Lane Velodrome in Atlanta offers not safety bikes, a rental bike so that a student may try to pass a safety course and then be able to compete because they may not either be able to afford or otherwise get a track bike to represent their school. So there are opportunities at the local level, there are opportunities at each of our individual teams, and depending on what school you do, they may also have different types of support. As an example, while Kennesaw State, my alma mater, KSU, didn't necessarily provide a bike, we did have funding to purchase training equipment and safety equipment like full face helmets. So that's not something I would expect, or, we as conference leadership would expect maybe a new student to go out and buy a downhill safety rated helmet. They're very expensive. So our school provided and had a safety inclination. Hey, we're going to make sure that all of your racers, if they want to do this discipline, I have a cross country, short track, dual slalom, downhill, a gravity discipline we'll talk about in a minute. They want to try that out. We want to make sure they're safe. So they provided not only downhill helmets, but also chest protectors and knee pads. So we want to make sure that when we're trying out these new disciplines, there's also a safety component. That's also a little bit different per each school. Everyone has a safety policy. Every student that signs on through, we used IM leagues or now Sport 80, has to pass a safety exam, a concussion evaluation as a baseline, and all those things that keep our students safe. So there's definitely a proclivity for safety. As for equipment, like a new bike or maybe a rental bike, that's a little bit more specific to either where you are or a program you're close to. Did that help answer your question, Jason?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Sure thing.
Just an example, we have 3 to 4 bikes, mountain bikes, road bikes, and track bikes so that students can try a new discipline if they would like. And typically, if they get into that particular discipline, then they end up buying their own bike, and then we recycle it into another student.
No, that's an excellent program. I wish we could. We'll have to chat later and see if we can replicate some success. I think other schools would definitely be inclined to hear how you've built that program, because that's something we struggle with, right? Is maybe a student obviously cannot afford 6 different bicycles. Well, how do we support that student that wants to engage in a different discipline? I think it's a really cool program. We'll have to touch base after this. All right. Essie, any final question before I continue through the presentation here?
I could also just jump in and just
Yeah.
say my very first collegiate race was on a borrowed bike from a teammate. We didn't have any official program, but I went to team meeting and was like, "Hey, I'm going to a mountain bike race. I can do it on my cross bike, but that doesn't seem ideal." Didn't even see the guy, couldn't make it. Got told, "Hey, here's my $3,000 bike. Don't break it, but have it for the weekend." It was a blast.
I think that really speaks to the community that we have in Collegiate. There's always someone willing to look out for you and also step up when the time is right. I know even at Kennesaw State, someone might allow a downhill bike or maybe a better travel bike. Flynn, that was a perfect example about how we have a community in our colleges and then from our conference wide and then expanding past that, our country and Collegiate. I mean, again, community is a perfect example of that. Not to mention outside of our collegiate environment, we have those that are willing to step up and step in. It's very cool. All right, moving on. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what mountain bikes. This is a mountain bike crowd. Let's chat about some mountain bike stuff. So, when is the mountain bike season? This is on our fall semester, and then our nationals is going to be in October of this year, 2026. So, the races for the SECCC, and I have my map down on the bottom right. I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but these little pinpoints are about where we have our races. Now, in the middle of there, we have our Gainesville race. This is a part of our road season as well. And then our Mountain Goat Adventures gravel race, too, kind of in North Georgia in Dahlonega. So we try to have a broad coverage of our region because not every college can host a race, but they do have the opportunity to, which is really cool. Effectively, we're in all these states: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. And the coolest part about this is all of those states also have their own independent and fastly growing NICA leagues. I believe the Georgia League is now an affiliate league, and we just split. I was a coach for a NICA team of 72. It was insane. Bunch of rippers around, and we got so big we had to split our conference east and west. So what a cool problem to have. And I think the ideal behind bringing your bike with you to college really resounds in the community that we're going to continue to build as these races get bigger and even more fun. So let's talk about what the races look like. We basically have endurance and gravity. So multiple events on Saturday and Sunday. Typically, we have a gravity and an endurance event on both of the days. Our cross country event, which is kind of the most similar thing to what you have in NICA, is a mass start event, and it's separated not by varsity or junior varsity, things like our NICA delineations in skill or ability level, but it's actually based on now categories with USA Cycling categories now congruent with one at the top, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Everyone can pretty much start out in category 5 and then upgrade as you get better and progress on your own, either through a point system or a voluntary upgrade from 5 to 4. If anyone's familiar with the nomenclature with our governing body there are upgrade points available to where you can win races or do well enough to get X amount of points to get up into the next category. The way it's kind of lined out across the weekend, though, is really having a lot of fun, first of all, but getting out of your comfort zone. One of the coolest things about collegiate cycling is the opportunity to try a gravity event, which most folks in the NICA realm haven't yet dipped their toes into, or at least jumped off a cool jump and done some fun stuff with a downhill helmet. Anywho, cross country is a mass start event. And then to the right, we have dual slalom. That's probably the most unique thing to our mountain bike season. So think about ski slaloms where they go through the gates, the red and blue ones. We have the same thing, but on bikes. It's rad. And they have jumps, berms, all that kind of thing. It's a bracket system style race. It's very fun. Short track is another different type of endurance event. It's actually by time, not necessarily by laps, right? So we have the same amount of people that start in our cross country all at the same time by category, and they rip around basically a kilometer course with, I had one with a staircase, a teeter-totter, a cool berm, quick punchy climbs, things like that. Think about a criterium on dirt. It's a lot of fun. And then finally, the really cool one to watch, especially if you're not doing it. I attempted a few times, wasn't the best, but downhill racing, which is a time trial effectively from the top of the mountain down. And we have a couple different very, very cool skill level courses. I think the hardest one we have in the Southeast is at Ride Rock Creek, the downhill park up in North Carolina. We also have Lees McRae, which hosts a UCI rated downhill course. There's a lot of walking on that one, let me tell you. I'm a culprit of that. A lot of very cool stuff, but definitely getting out of your comfort zone is a very cool thing to be able to do, to have that opportunity to try a short track race or try an intro downhill course and really see if you've got what it takes and then grow your skills. So as far as mountain bike in the SEC, any questions before we kind of move on? Again, bringing your bike, having fun, lots of friends and events. Not seeing too much in the chat. And I want to make sure we have plenty of time for Sam and Kaitlyn to chat too. The last thing that I'll do before I tee up their conversation is the biggest question we always get as conference leadership is what is the difference between club and varsity? So the biggest one is that every club is a student-led volunteer organization or a student club sport, student-led club sport, and varsity teams are a little bit more selective, and some even have scholarship opportunities and are supported with coaches. So kind of on the left, going from left to right, we have the availability at every single college and university to support a club team. And the cool part is, even if there isn't a club team at the college you decide to attend, there is the infrastructure there to help you start one, and or if they don't have a club and it's a lot of work and it's too much, totally fine. We have unattached rider policies that still allow you to race with Collegiate, even if your team isn't official, right? We have everyone in our leagues racing from the top of the line, Hencappy or Pactimo or map kits, all the way down to I just brought my bike. Maybe my mom or dad gave it to me and I have a t-shirt with my college logo on it. I mean, we are that inclusive, and that's why the community is so strong. So there's an availability at a club level team at every single university in the country, no matter where you decide to go. To contrast that, varsity teams are more of an application basis. A lot of them have coaches that do reach out programs, and there's even some team rides that folks can do as more of an ability application just as much as it is academic. Again, both of these things are education first, but the varsity differential is that they have a little bit more support with coaches and an application to actually get on the team. You also still have to be accepted to school on an academic basis too, so you can't let your grade slip thinking if you're just first place all the time. A lot of the time in club, we have leadership and career growth opportunities. I'd like to say I'm a pretty good example of that. I actually, one of the first sponsors of our team, I now part own that company. So I use my business degree and the full arc. I worked my way up to partner in what I do. So it's a very cool case. And we're going to hear from Sam and Kaitlyn about their growth as well on the club and varsity side in a minute. The biggest one, bottom left, at will racing and riding at any level for club. Anybody can do any of these events as long as they are so healthy and able to do so. There is equality and equity throughout every involvement and engagement level at club. In fact, at most clubs, you don't have to race to be a part of the club. That means you can enjoy all the cool social aspects. Even if you don't want to race anymore, everyone is still willing to have you on the fun rides and things like that. It's awesome. Again, community-driven clubs. Varsity is a little bit more of an advanced version of that. You have scheduled program and racing specific stuff. So if you're brought on a scholarship and you're going to be on the track team, or you were recruited as a, BMX racer to be on the BMX team, you might have a specific workout plan or program specific thing you're there to do and win those races, right? So that's more racing specific and as well as education. That is a little bit more of a higher engagement for bikes with varsity, and there's still scholarships available at most of these schools as well. And we're going to let Sam talk to those too. All right. That kind of wraps up my part of this for talking about the SEC from a holistic standpoint, kind of what we do, what collegiate cycling is, the difference between club and varsity, and then all the cool opportunities for mountain bikes. Before I tee up Sam and Kaitlyn, any other questions for me or in the chat?
No questions, but a comment. Just us, for example, we're a varsity program. We do have people on the team that don't race, as well as folks that aren't on a specific training program. They just want to be a part of the team.
Oh, perfect. So, and that's another good point. To be able to have that level of inclusivity at both of these things, another community driving aspect. Good point there too.
Well, and just to add on to that, I mean, the way our conference works is it doesn't matter what your skill level is. So whether you're a 1 or a 5, during a race, you get the same number of points. And so we also recruit students just that want to try, race, to get points as well.
Excellent. No, seriously good information too. And that's the emphasis on the and, right? A lot of these things are not bucketized um, club versus or why one is maybe or not better than the other. We are a huge emphasis on and. We line up on the same line. We get the same amount of points there, and we're all shaking each other's hands. And if you can see from my picture below hand, this is a full mix of our Southeastern club and varsity team all there together, bright and shiny, ready to race and have fun, including our national champ kind of towards the far right. So there's a huge emphasis with us, and even in the Midwest across the country about the and. We're very much involved with that too. No, thank you for the comments. Those are excellent.
And to add to the community aspect, we help a lot of our club teams when they choose to go to nationals, whether it's a ride to the race or uh, borrowing equipment or just hanging out under our tent because they don't have one.
Even better. No, again, if I could add an extra C, I know there's too many in all of our acronyms, right? But if I could add one more C to SECCC, it would be community. Good stuff. All right. I'm going to stop yapping here and I'm going to queue up Kaitlyn, or sorry, Sam is going to be first. So, Sam, we now have the club and varsity deep dives. They have some cool stuff ready for it. And again, same start line, different paths. I think, Sam, you're up first. I'll let you go for it.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm just going to share a little bit about my journey from Florida NICA, just like you guys, up into racing for Lees McRae, and then now working for King as an assistant cycling coach. So I started off just like all of you guys back in Florida NICA. Prior to that, had none experience in mountain biking. I grew up racing road and all of that. NICA is what really made me fall in love with mountain biking and made that more of a focus for me. So then I'm going to talk a little bit about my process. And so I decided that I wanted to race in college, but I wasn't really sure what that looked like or what that process was or anything like that. And so I'm just going to walk through a little bit of that. So something you really want to focus on is you're going to be a student athlete, meaning a student first. I know for me, I got a little swept away with being like, oh my gosh, all these schools have different cycling programs. I'm really interested. But you're going to be a student first and you're going to walk away with that degree. And that degree is what's really going to carry your career. And so that's really important to, obviously look at where you want to go. And so how to get recruited and how to find your fit. So every college and every team is going to be a little bit different, and that's what makes each program so amazing. So say you find a school that you're interested in, they all have a recruit me form on their website. So as Clay mentioned earlier, it is more of like an application-based thing to be on a varsity team. And so you're going to have to fill out that recruit me form, and then the coaches will get in contact with you. But some things to look into when looking at different programs would be definitely your degree path, like I already mentioned. You want to look to see team practices because you guys are used to NICA. NICA is going to be a lot different than it is when you're going into varsity team. And then you also want to look at that team goals or team vibe. Like my time at Lees McRae was a lot different than my time currently at King. Lees McRae is pretty competitive, and King is competitive as well, but it's way more of a relaxed family feel, whereas Lees McRae is way more performance focused. So yeah, and then inside varsity teams, so you want to look at coaching. So like I said, NICA has a lot different structure than it does in college. So when you go to college, you'll get a Training Peaks account and you'll have like a dedicated training plan, but that's up to you to get that work done and to put in that time. We have team practices, yeah, but everybody's schedule is so different that for the most part, you're going to be doing your training with like maybe another teammate or another one, like a few if your guys' schedules line up. But for the most part, that training is going to be on you. But the also really nice thing is you get lots of one-on-one feedback from your coaches, which is pretty awesome. Another thing you want to look into is practices. So we have like 3 practices a week. You have 2 with your strength training coach, which is another coach that is provided from the university, which is amazing that we get to work with. And then normally we have like a short track practice during when we're in season. And then we just ride on the weekends for fun when we're out of season. And then you want to look into some other things. So at King, it's really nice. We have a mechanic for our support. And so like that's amazing. You get to put in like a request just like at a bike shop, and then they go and they fix and work on your bike, which is pretty awesome. But not every team is like that. So you just want to see what support there is for Lees McRae versus King or whatever school you're looking at, because it's going to be different at each one. But the really nice thing about varsity is that you have a lot of support. So we all get together on Friday afternoons to get together. You load your bike up into a trailer, and we all travel in vans to the race venue. Then we stay the night in a hotel, get some food, and then the next morning we start racing. It's really nice. You have trainers there, you have your tent set up, we have food. It's like pretty much all taken care of, and you have like support to give you bottles and those types of things, which is really nice. We all road trip together, and it's more of a like professional experience. When we go to nationals, we do tend to fly depending on where it's at. So that's pretty nice too. Varsity also offers scholarships, which is pretty cool. So normally how that works is you'll get an academic scholarship and a cycling scholarship. And those 2 together will be part of your scholarship package to go to the school. It is different for everybody though. So yeah. And then some things that I learned through NICA and then through college to make me now a coach. It's been pretty amazing that I've had all of these experiences. But NICA really introduced like the community feel and made me fall in love with mountain biking. As I mentioned before, like I always found mountain biking really scary, but NICA really helped me build that confidence to go through hard things and taught me leadership, sportsmanship, and perseverance, which was pretty amazing. And then some things that I learned in college would be like how to balance academics with travel and training. That's a lot of different things, but they're also amazing life skills to learn for when you're moving out of college and into your next step of life, which is really awesome. So, yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about my experience.
No, that was excellent, Sam. I have a question for you. We can chat as if this was a full, like, not an interview, but a cool open conversation. Talk to me about how what you learned in the classroom while what you were doing on the bike at Lees McRae transferred to what you're doing in a career now.
Yeah, so my degree is in outdoor recreation and management, which is pretty amazing, with a concentration in wilderness medicine and rescue. So I knew I wanted to do something in the outdoor industry, and I, of course, love bikes naturally. Um, and so what I learned, like I learned so much in college. It's not even what you learn in the classroom. There's just like so many other things about just life that you just learn. And so just really comparing that with cycling has really helped me decide like, oh my gosh, I really want to give back to other generations, like the next generation coming up, and help them go through and learn everything that I did.
No, that was excellent. Perfect, perfect. Any other questions from the group for Sam on her journey from, NICA beginnings all the way through being a coach herself for a varsity team? Look in the chat. Feel free to come off mute too. We are not shy. But no, Sam, that was excellent. Very good story arc between how you had call it this says bike beginnings all the way through what you're doing now to even give back to. That's an excellent pathway. I'm going to cue it up now for Kaitlyn to talk about her club cycling journey here. So something kind of similar. She's going to talk to you about really what it is like to be on a student-led organization and even what she's doing now. Kaitlyn, take it away.
Hello, so it's Caitlin again. As I said before, I currently ride for the University of Florida, and I serve as secretary for their club team that we have there. My NICA journey started, I think, in 2023, 2022 actually, after COVID. I was looking for something to do, and Having ridden bikes casually all my life, I decided to join the local mountain bike team and just kind of fell in love with the sport, and did NICA in Florida until I graduated. And it was actually at San Falasco race that's kind of basically in Gainesville. We had the UF people, the president and the vice president at the time, come and talk to all the racers, which was me at the time, and say, hey, club cycling in college exists. You should be aware of it. Here's what we do. Here's all the opportunities you can have. And that's really kind of what set me on a path to finding club cycling at UF. So this is kind of going to be what you can get from club cycling, the benefits it has, the kind of growth you can get out of it, really just why it's so awesome. So at UF, club cycling is pretty much what it sounds like. It's not a varsity program. It's more akin to a club you would join just for fun. You pick the university you want to go to based on the academics and the career you want to get into, and then the club comes with it. And this comes with a lot of unique benefits and opportunities. You still race the same races as varsity. You just get a little bit more flexibility, which I'll go into later. And it's just a little bit easier to get involved since there's no recruitment, there's no tryouts. You just join the same way you would join a normal club. So being student-led as a club team is really unique as we get to build the club around what its members want. I always say it's for students by students because the students are the leadership. So let's say our mountain bike boys said, hey, we want to go out and buy a ramp. You know what? We can do that. We don't have to go ask, a coach or anything. We can just go out, buy you a ramp. You want to go to a trip in North Carolina? Go for it. Yeah, we'll provide funding for that. So we can easily accommodate what our students want. So yeah, we decide where the budget goes, what's worth it. That's all up to us. So this gives a lot of really unique opportunities for students themselves to get involved in leadership, which is really good for, your academics and also your career development, because the skills you want to develop can be built by being an officer in the club. If you're good with money, if you're good with finances, or if you're like an accounting major, you go and you be the treasurer for the club. If you're good at marketing, maybe you want to be our social media or sponsorship coordinator. Honestly, if you just want any sort of leadership, there's always a way to get involved. We always need people who are dedicated and want to be a part of the club. So that's really awesome. I mean, I joined as just a normal member and when I started helping out and was like, hey, there is an opening for secretary. I'm just going to do that. I'm already doing the same work that I did then. Yeah, it's just really awesome to get involved and build your social skills and your leadership skills in an area that you're passionate about. So I talked about leadership, career opportunities. Cycling is really awesome for networking. It sounds kind of weird to say, but a lot of people that you ride with, if they're an adult and they can afford to keep cycling and traveling and doing bikes, they're probably really well off. They've got a really good circle that you want to get involved in. And of course, they want to help a fellow cyclist out and give you some opportunities. I personally know of at least 3 people on UF's club team who got, jobs in software development or in data analytics just by having those connections and being friendly with people who are in the sport. In today's workplace, it's really not really what you know, it's who you know, and cycling can help get you that. Racing, trips, and group rides. So just want to touch on what UF does as a club in terms of cycling. So we do race the SECCC calendar, and we get as many of those races as we can. Right now the team is primarily road, but I'll talk about what the mountain bike guys do. We also do local races, like we do the Tour de San Falasco. Really anything that piques people's interest, we can usually accommodate. We also have weekly training rides. We have a women's ride. We have night rides. We have recovery rides. We've got super intense fast rides. Really anything for any skill level. There's something for everyone, and especially the mountain bike squad really likes doing trips. So they go up to Georgia, go to Jared's place a lot. I think there's a trip up to North Carolina last semester. I don't remember where that was, but they really like all doing that. So there's just a lot of options within club cycling. Um, we get at UF actually a pretty decent amount of support from the university. In my experience, a lot of club teams get most of their support from sponsorships and the fundraising they do themselves, but a lot of them also get quite a bit of monetary support from the university. Um, and then it varies in amount and it varies how clubs choose to spend it. So here at UF, we are fortunate enough that we get to pay for all of our members' race registrations, which makes it like a much less heavy burden to go to these races and try new things out because that financial stress is not on you. You don't have to worry about it. I know at USF in Tampa, they choose to spend a lot of their money on hiring a part-time coach. So that's just like team development. It really just depends on what the riders at that team want and need. Um, Also, I don't know about other campuses, but since UF is kind of sporty, we also get access to all the gyms, personal trainers, and physical therapists as an official club sport team. Um, and as Clay mentioned, like if this club that you want does not exist at the university you're going to, you can always create one. My brother is in North Carolina, and he literally went out and was like, "Hey, there's no cycling club here," and made one. And now he's the president of it. It's really easy. You just fill out the paperwork. The universities are really supportive of new clubs. They want to get their students involved and make it a better place on campus. So that's always an option. Flexibility. I think this is one of the things that sets club teams apart from varsity. Um, I think in a positive way, it's just very different. So there's little to no commitment and obligation to a club team as opposed to varsity, unless you're an officer, which is a different story, but that's relevant. But this makes it really feasible for you to balance your life, your academics, your racing, school commitments, hobbies. You can like have a life without revolving it around the sport that you have a scholarship for and that you're being essentially paid to do. Um, Club cycling gives you the freedom to say, hey, I want to do all the races in the calendar. I want to do one of the races in the calendar. I want to do one event of this one race, and that's it. Or you could just not race at all. You could join the club just to have fun if that's really what you're about, just to spend the time you can on bikes and enjoy it. Um, there's really just a lot of flexibility there. And also gives you the freedom to try a new discipline and advance the skills you already have. And in any level you choose, since there's no tryouts, I had never done cyclocross before this past fall, and I just went with the team. I brought my hardtail cross country bike because I didn't have a gravel bike, and just went out there and entered in the lowest collegiate category. And you know what? I won. UF pretty much took first, second, and third place. It was awesome to have these opportunities. But I will say UF is really lucky because we have a fleet of gravel cross bikes that, depending on which tires we put on, my first road race was on a cross bike that just had road tires on it. That went really well. We lend them out for the people who join the team who want to do road or gravel or cyclocross, and they only have a mountain bike, or they don't have a bike at all except a commuter. So there's a lot of freedom there that comes with, not being set in a specific discipline. You get to try a lot of things out. And then finally, community. I think this is one of the more important aspects of a club, if not the most important thing, because you get a built-in support network. It's a super fun and easy way to get a social circle. I always tell people who are coming to UF that the best way to make friends is to join a club. And this is no different. It's simply a club. Especially in big schools like UF. It's a really cool campus, but there's so many students. There's so many different types of people with so many different interests. And it can be really difficult to find your niche, your people that you want to hang out with and do things with. So then it's hard to know where to start. But if you start with what you already know, which is cycling, then you already have a network of really cool students who share the sport you love. I honestly think this is where it's most similar to NICA. Especially in like the riding and racing aspects. I mean, you travel 6 to 8 hours packed into the back of a car with some of your closest friends, and then you're staying in Airbnb And I know for one of our last races in like Alabama, we hosted dinner for USF and UCF. And then you go to the races and there's like hundreds of people who you know who from different colleges you only see at races and people you don't know just all cheering you on. It's just really special to be part of that community and continue the community you had from NICA all the way into college. I think that's all I have,
No,
but I would
Kaitlyn, that was perfect. Excellent job.
awesome.
I think you both highlighted exactly what it means to be a part of each type of team, the camaraderie within each, even if it's a little bit different, and the benefits of all of it too. And that again, big emphasis on the community and the and between both of these things as well. Like both of you have taken very different paths. Like Sam took a varsity route with more of a little bit structure in it, and then her career path led her into her excellent role now. And then yours, and Kaitlyn, remind us what you're studying again.
Oh, I'm a biology student. I'm on the pre-vet track.
That is excellent. So just to highlight even more that you can do anything in any university studying, and you said pre-vet and bio.
Yes, pre-veterinary.
Excellent. So that just goes to show you can take your bike with you and get as much out of a cycling program as you can follow your passions in education. Some of them, and it doesn't, that's the cool thing about this, does not have to be in the cycling world. Bikes can always be a part of what you're doing, both with your education and afterward. And that's kind of our job to help provide the platform to do exactly that. Each pathway is excellent, and it's up to the student and kind of your own passion and intuition to choose what's best for you. Thank you guys both for highlighting such an excellent thing. That was fantastic presentations. For the rest of the group, I only have a couple more things left, including a Q&A. I will not yap through the last two slides. Just to highlight, we actually have representation from two of our conferences here on on our call here. We have, I think, Midwest and also ECCC. So our green one's up here, and then our Midwest in the middle. We have a collegiate group of advisors and what we call conference directors and volunteers. We are all volunteers, by the way, that help organize the collegiate racing. So obviously we have around 11 conferences. The Southeast is what we're most focused on today, but this just goes to show that wherever you end up, even if you choose a community college or something like a full four-year university, we do have the infrastructure to facilitate the growth of your cycling and your education too. So all of those resources are available. In fact, our next one is about, there's a resource tab. Before I hand this all off, Jackie, I think we can talk to the next slide here about how right now there is an integration with outside NICA non-interfering events that you can actually attribute and get a little bit of a head start. Jackie, would you like to talk a little bit to this slide just to make a mention?
Yeah, for sure. So, you guys all know that we have our pit zone. That's where we have all of our registration and all of that such thing. And if you go in there, you can go to your riders information. You'll scroll all the way to the bottom, and then there's where you can input your USA Cycling number. There's been a partnership between USA Cycling and with NICA that when you are doing our NICA races, they will count towards getting points. So if any of you have begun to speak with any colleges and that you may have heard, some of those college coaches saying, hey, make sure you get your USAC license, that kind of thing. So just knowing that that is there and that by doing our races, you're still accumulating points for the they talked about upgrades for other things like that. Just getting yourself established within that USA Cycling.
No, that was excellent. And to put some clarification on how we're integrated and involved with USA Cycling, each of our conferences is a league affiliated with our governing body, similar to how we have NICA affiliate leagues, like the Georgia League as an example, where I've been a coach 5 years or so. And then the Florida League, which is a NICA league. They roll up into the rules for our governing body. Same with our conferences. We roll up and align with our collegiate national schedule and other races therein for USA Cycling. So each of our conferences is a delineation and represents that governing body as a whole before it. There are some differences between each of our conferences. We won't go too into the weeds with why that is, and it's really weather and location. Montana's 10 hours from everywhere, and sometimes our friends in New York are snowed in through March. So those kind of things we have to take into account. Us down in the Southeast, we don't get a lot of snow. Sometimes we have some inclement weather, but other than that, that's what enables us to do as much as we do. But we are in leagues, call it conferences within our governing body, USA Cycling. So that's about the handoff there. I'm glad for the leadership decision to have that bridge between the two. It's up to us and the other folks around the collegiate realm to establish that social bridge too. Alrighty, on my last slide, fun little Q&A. I know we don't have too much time left. I'm checking the chat as this is going in. Any other questions for us that kind of wrap up, bring your bike with you wherever you go and have fun on two wheels? Looking. If any of the other leadership from our other conferences would like to chime in here too, feel free as well. Other than that, I know we're at the kind of top of the hour. I might go grab a bite to eat, but this is excellent. If you'd like to jump in, please do.
Yeah, Clay, just clarification. I'm from Midwestern State University. We're in the South Central Collegiate Conference.
Oh, my bad. South Central. Yes, SCCCC.
We have an extra seat.
As if we didn't have enough already.
Right.
I think our Western friends are, yeah, they're WCCC. So we stole the fourth. But the idea that we have representation, even on this call, with more than one conference, 3, in fact, is fantastic. Not to mention we have the ability for all of our intra-conference racing as well. Our friends in the Atlantic just have as much fun with our Lees-McRae race. We have at Lees-McRae College what we like to say is a tri-conference race. In fact, we've even had Michigan State come all the way down to North Carolina. So it's super cool to have friends all across the country. And Kennesaw State. I do have a question in the chat. Does Kennesaw State have a varsity or club cycling program? We actually have a club program, to answer that question from the chat. It is all student-led and run. And if you look back in their Instagram, you'll see a bunch of funny old pictures of me riding an old bike in college too. We really spun up, and I was a business marketing major, and a lot of the cases that I did in my business courses directly related to what we were doing in the classroom. On the bike too. So using those knowledge of finance classes on how to balance a budget. We had to be our own finance advisors. We had to go out and understand marketing and have, conversations about sponsorships and things like that to help us throughout the season. Kit design. Students design all their own kits. It was a very cool thing to do, but we are a club cycling program. No problem. And for a reference and what we're doing, I'll let Jackie close it out too. We're recording this conversation. We'll have a resource on the NICA Florida website, right, Jackie?
Yes.
Or a link. Maybe this could even find its way maybe on perhaps a YouTube channel or something like that.
Yes, we do have a YouTube channel that it will be on as well.
And then what I can do as well is create like a one-pager with all of these resources, links to our socials, social stuff all on the far left, direct contacts to Michael Sowers and myself, our conference leadership conference director is Michael Sowers. A cool video. This is the video done by our own student. This is like a feature-length film. It is wildly cool. Give it a watch. And then all of our collegiate kind of starter guides we have resources for as well. What I will include, since we have some representation from our other conferences, and I'll talk to you guys separately, but providing some contact information for you guys as well. I think that'd be very cool since you're included on this cool meeting that Jackie and Florida NICA has set up.
You want me to put it in the chat?
That would be excellent. Yeah, that'd be great. What we can also do, Jackie, is when we have a one-pager and an email that goes out, not just to include those that are on the call, but everyone that wish they could be here. That's totally fine for them to come out and also pitch us some more questions, things that we can answer via email. And then what we do best, connect those eager students that are probably already thinking about early admission, how to get in contact with those schools and such like that. We are here as a bridge and a resource.
Definitely. Yep. We will be getting all of that out in the next very few days. I'm not going to promise you exactly. But yeah, Because as you all know, we have our first event rolling up really quickly. So it definitely will be. And then if any of you have questions, you have anything, you can stop me at our first event, and Sam will be at our first event as well. So if you want to stop by the volunteer tent, she is going to be working that for us. So you can ask her any additional questions then. And as always, feel free to reach out and ask me any questions. My email is always open for all of you.
Thank you, Jackie. And thank you for letting me join you guys on this evening. I know it's a little bit after time, but this has been fantastic. Congrats. Also, big round of applause for Sam and Kaitlyn. You guys are great. That was a great introduction to your pathway and arc and your story for varsity and collegiate and how bikes have impacted your lives. I appreciate being a part of this whole group in Florida NICA. We're here for you guys when you graduate and then on. Thank you, Jackie. That's all.